Bill, this reminds me of the notion in graduate school of maybe it was Nathan Lyons that said it, that looking at art and looking at your work and reading what the work itself, the questions the work itself raises. So how did you, for not only the students but for the educators, how did you find, what gave you those tools for reading the questions that the work raises, and what tools or process do you find inspires you to understand the work that your own work, the questions it raises?
That's a great question. It begins, I think, with people who are not academics.
Okay.
I had to, as I began the biographical portion of this, it started with those questions that my parents asked me, my friends asked me, my community asked me about how you choose to do what you're doing and have it be relevant. Because let's understand something. The dominant representation of contemporary visual artists in the media can be reduced to three terms: shock, shame, and fame. We generally learn about contemporary visual artists in the media when they've either shocked somebody or shamed either themselves or somebody else, or have some rock star status based upon their relationship to the marketplace. Now, thank you very much. I have to go back home. Let me say that again. I have to go back home. And to the degree that I'm interested in expanding the audience for contemporary art, I am listening to people address the question of what has art done for them lately. I go to galleries and museums and see people who are there because they're seeking culture by association. I'll never forget when I was teaching at the Art Institute of Chicago, and I think it was Chagall show or something. I mean, there were lines wrapped around the building to see this quote-unquote blockbuster exhibition, right? And it ended up being, you can feel it, that it was about being seen, not about seeing the art. You know what I'm talking about? And and so the idea of that the smaller the audience, the more important my work is, I simply don't ascribe to. So I'm interested in how I can have something for my colleagues, how I can have something for my family, and how I can have something for people who would not be caught dead or alive in a gallery or museum. And realize that art, contemporary visual art, can do other things than make them feel uncomfortable. And that they're missing something. So I think it's definitely the conversations that I have with people outside of the academy, and again, coming up through that era, the dual dynamism of the Black Arts Movement and the Civil Rights Movement that asked us all, which side are you on? And where will you be in terms of addressing the question of relevance with respect to your lives and what you do with your lives? And I just see contemporary artists having it's a space where I could introduce those things that are important to me, that are important to other people that perhaps my classmates weren't thinking about.
Thank you.
Thank you. The questions? Other questions?
What is your hope? After the project? Once the project's completed
Good question.
here, what are your ambitions?
Well, you know,
Because you're going back to Princeton, right? So you're staying very much within the academy.
well, I live in Princeton.
Okay,
I teach at Parsons.
okay.
Yeah.
So I guess I have a dual question.
Yeah.
One is taking Detroit, which is such nationally a hot topic of degradation and despair, sort of the exemplar of the depravity of the American city. So that's one issue that I'm interested to hear how you're going to negotiate. And then much more sort of in an upbeat method, what are you going to do after the project? What are your intentions and hope for the project afterwards?
That's a real good question. Well, I think what gives me an advantage is that I know what it means to be viewed, scorned, and talked about. Sure as you won't. And this city, this school, these students are very, very familiar to me. I'm not on another planet by any stretch of the imagination. And I have a friend, an artist by the name of Sonia Clark, who did an amazing project called Beaded Prayers, where she went around the world. She works in fibers. And she held workshops with people on beading, and they got the opportunity to write prayers and put them in these talismans. And I said, what could I do that would enable me to go from one city or country to the next? And this project is that. I plan on going to other cities and other countries with this because I believe that the power of and the potential of this undertaking to get people to pursue solutions and understand their own power, to realize the change they want to see in the world is just phenomenal, as well as the opportunity to expand the definition of contemporary visual art. So my hope is that I attract the attention of funders and arts administrators in different cities and countries where they'll invite me to do this where they are. Because I know that there'll be similarities and differences in what people are hopeful or hopeless about.